And I'm the chair of the Maryland Transportation Authority Board. Today is Thursday, September 25th, 2025, and I hereby call this meeting of the MDTA Board to order at 9 a.m. This morning, we are having our meeting in person at MDTA headquarters, and in accordance with the live streaming law, this meeting is being live streamed on the MDTA Board webpage. I'd like to say welcome to the members and staff who are with us today. And for the record, member Penny Ardinger, member Sneed, and member Carroll are joining via conference call this morning. As a reminder, I ask that anyone who's in the room with us this morning to refrain from speaking unless you are presenting or answering a question to avoid background noise on the live stream. I'd also like to ask members to speak loudly and clearly so those in the back of the room are able to hear you. Also, please state your name when motioning or seconding to help with meeting minutes. There are no members of the public, no elected officials, and no media who have pre-registered to comment at this morning's meeting. And for those who are watching this meeting via live stream, we have posted the materials for today's meeting on the MDTA Board webpage so that you can follow along if you would like. With that, we will move to our first agenda item for this morning, which is the approval of the open session meeting minutes from our August 28th, 2025 meeting.
So move, Member Cox.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Our next approval item is a contract award to be presented by Mr. Davis for the security systems and maintenance service item. Mr. Davis.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, members of the board. For the record, my name is Jeff Davis with the Division of Procurement here at the MDTA. And I'm presenting one contract, contract number MT002114111, Security System Maintenance and Service. I'm looking to seek approval from the MDTA board to execute this contract. This contract provides periodic preventative maintenance, inspection, testing, and on-call emergency and non-emergency repair for MDTA security systems. 4 bids were received, but 1 bid was rejected for being non-responsive. ARC Systems Incorporated was determined to be the responsive and responsible bidder with the lowest total overall price, and therefore is being recommended for award of this contract. As this contract exceeds the MDTA's delegated authority, the award of this contract will be pending approval at the next available BPW meeting. You'll see that we received 3 bids. The lowest bid from ARC Systems in the amount of $1,173,542.50. That bidder also met the MBE goal of 7% and VSBE goal of 1%, and they are the incumbent. Are there any questions?
Any questions from members of the board and either our finance or capital committee chairs? Good. Is there a motion to approve the contract?
Mr. Member Von Paris, I'll make a motion.
Member Cordova, second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
you
Davis.
so much.
Aye.
Our next item this morning is an approval item for the approval of the Canton Railroad Board of Directors to be presented by Ms. Sharpless. Thank you.
Good morning. For the record, my name's Deb Sharpless, MDTA's Chief Financial Officer. This item is to request the board's approval for the Canton board. As the board members are aware, we are the sole shareholder of Canton, and as such, as your responsibility is to approve the board of directors as well as the chairman of the board. We recommend that Steve Kaufman be reappointed, as well as Sarah Klein. We've discussed this matter with Member Cox, who sits on the Canton board in an ex officio capacity, and we've also talked to the CEO of Canton. Both of their services have been very valuable to the board, and particularly Steve, who has served as the chairman, and we recommend that he continue as the chairman. So with your approval, you would be approving the reappointment of these 2 individuals, Mr. Kaufman as the chairman, and approval of myself or a designee to attend the Canton stockholders meeting and elect in this slate of directors. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Deb. Any questions?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the slate.
Member Ganjemi, I'll second.
And second, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion's approved. Our next item this morning, to be presented by Mr. Brown, is an approval item for the fiscal year 2026 budget amendment.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Jeffrey Brown, Budget Director of the MDTA. I'm here today to request approval of an amendment to increase the fiscal 2026 budget by $1.1 million for the purchase of 13 MDTA police pool vehicles. This purchase is in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police, and according to Section 6.17 of the trust agreement, we are able to amend the budget at any time during the fiscal year. As just mentioned, we're requesting the purchase of 13 additional police pool vehicles for fiscal 2026. That will increase the operating budget from $461.1 million to $462.2 million, a $1.1 million or 0.2% increase to the budget. I'd be happy to take any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve this budget amendment?
Just Member Von Paris, I'll make a motion that we advance this item and approve this item.
Is there a second?
Member Cordova, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The budget amendment approval advances. Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown will be staying with us for our next agenda item, which is an update on the FY 2025 operating budget comparison.
Okay, I'm here to provide an update to the full year fiscal 2025 budget versus actual spending. As of June 30th, 95% of the budget was spent compared to a target of 100%. Except for fixed charges, all objects were within or below budgeted spending levels. Moving into the detail, salary and wages, Object 1 and 2 are at targeted spending levels with 100% spend rate. Communications, Object 3 is below budget with a 74% spend, primarily due to lower telecommunications expenses such as telephones, cell phones, etc. The primary driver in the underspend is due to a new maintenance contract that was expected in fiscal 25 but will be completed in fiscal 2026. Travel, Object 4 is below budget with the 42% spend rate. The availability of virtual meetings coupled with new travel guidelines are the key drivers for the underspending in this area. Fuel and utilities, Object 6 is slightly above budget at 102% spend, mainly due to utilities electricity, Object 620, which is above budget with 105% spend rate due to market pressures. Object 7, vehicle operations and maintenance is below budget at 77%, 77% spend. Drivers are vehicle purchases, which is below budget with a 79% spend. The laptops and cameras that are part of the MDTA police vehicle costs were not received by the end of the fiscal year, which is driving this underspend. Vehicle gas and oil is below budget with a 46% spend due to the easing of gas prices compared to budget assumptions. Vehicle maintenance and repair is slightly below budget with an 88% spend rate, while other vehicles, gas and oil is again slightly below budget with an 87% spend. Large vehicle maintenance repair is above budget with 106% spend rate. This is due to not receiving some expected dump trucks, so the maintenance involved to keep the older vehicles on the road is driving this increased maintenance expense. Contractual services, Object 8 is below budget with a 90% spend rate. Advertising is at 66% spend, primarily due to some promotional activity that has moved into fiscal 2026. Equipment repairs and maintenance is below budget with a 57% spend rate. The driver is the VMware renewal, which will be realized in fiscal 26 rather than fiscal 25. Building repairs and maintenance is above budget with 104% spend rate. This is for various facilities and building renovations for things like HVAC repairs, boiler repairs, ITS expenses, sludge removal, all those activities, plus with some accounting invoices not being received over various fiscal years is what's driving the overspend in this area. Janitorial services just slightly below budget with a 92% spend, while education and training is below at 62%. This is driven by the career development program costs, which is driving the underspend. Spending in this specific area has never recovered since the pandemic. Management studies, 821, is below budget with a 48% spend, mainly due to a delay in the awarding of an A&E contract and some reduced activity across the various cost centers drive this cost. Security services below budget at 55%, while fiscal services below at 86% spend, and this is driven by the credit card volume. IT services, which is Object 841 through 869, is above budget with 108% spend. This is driven primarily by Object 862, which is application software and maintenance, which is above budget at a 277% spend rate. This is due to rate and usage increases for the computer-aided dispatch and record management system. This cost is expected to stay elevated in the future. Easy Pass Service Center cost is below budget with an 83% spend. Delays in anticipated task order activity covered with lower anticipating spending in some other budget areas are the primary drivers for the underspend. Other contractual services is below budget with a 73% spend, which is driven by a lower overhead rate than budget for the Maryland State Police. Supply and materials, Object 10, is below budget with 78% spends, driven by roadway maintenance at 73% spend, which is due to lower emergency activity. Salt is below budget 54% due to the lower winter storm activity. Uniforms is at 87, just slightly low budget with 87% spend rate, as well as ammunition is slightly below budget at 89%. Transponders is below budget with an 84% spend, which is driven by demand. Replacement equipment, Object 10, is below budget at 56%, driven mostly by computers, which is below budget at 59% spend. Some of the computer requirements are being shifted from fiscal 25 to fiscal 26, while other replacement is below budget at a 19%, and that's driven by the underspend in the Maryland State Police K-9 program. Additional equipment, Object 11, is below budget with 47% spend. This is mostly due to the timing of orders. There is some reduced activity, and the timing of orders is what's driving this underspend. Finally, fixed objects is at 126% spend, driven by the insurance costs, which we've outlined before, which is over budget with 129% spend due to the property and liability insurance costs. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take questions at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown. I really appreciate the level of detail in the presentation that you provided. Pretty much every question that I had, I think, was answered by the write-up. Is it beneficial for me to try to use the same microphone as the phone?
Just separate.
See if that works. Chris is coming. Test.
Speak a little more, please.
Teamwork. Thank you so much, Chris. All right, it appears we're ready to go. Perhaps to test our audio further, are there any other questions from any of our board members on the operating budget report? Again, I just really want to thank you for the thoroughness of the report.
Just a question related to the Easy Pass. So I see your notes. I know what you mentioned. Can you explain more about that? Is this are we gonna have ongoing savings in the Easy Pass? You said there were savings in some other areas, and that's a pretty significant change.
If you want to, go ahead. Okay. She's more into detail.
So Easy Pass, or I shouldn't call them Easy Pass costs, I'm sorry, that's my fault. Toll operations expenses, They're driven by the number of accounts, registered accounts, so that would be Easy Pass accounts or pay-by-plate accounts. We pay per account. That's one thing that drives those costs. Another thing that drives those costs is the number of notices that we mail out, video toll notices, citations. And so we have another number of initiatives that we've been working on that that will increase costs some. So I expect to see some increase in these costs, but at the end of the day, sometimes you have to spend a little money to save a little money. In the beginning, we're hoping that with some additional noticing and additional procedures that we're going to spend money on, it's going to result in improved collections, which will then in the future lower the number of notices that goes out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Member Rosen, for the question. Any other questions? Any questions from our members on the line? Hearing none, we thank you so much for this update, and we will now move on to our update on the capital side to be presented by Ms. Stump.
Hello, good morning. For the record, I'm Jennifer Stump, the Assistant Capital Program Manager. Today, I'm presenting the fourth quarter review of the fiscal year 2025 capital budget versus the actual spending as outlined in the fiscal year 25 to 30 draft CTP. This information was also presented to the MDTA Finance and Administration Committee on September 11th. As of June 30th, 2025, 65% of the fiscal year 25 budget was spent as compared to the targeted spending level of 100%. The fiscal year 25 budget was $809.8 million. Actual spending through the fourth quarter was $525.3 million. 8 of the 91 projects budgeted in the fiscal year 2025 were within the acceptable spending limits of 90 to 110%. This is a plus or minus 10% of the 100% target, and this variation was decreased from the 25% reported for the first, second, and third quarters because all allocations, accruals, in fiscal year 2025 invoices were posted. An attachment A details 10 projects that were budgeted with the highest fiscal year 2025 budgets. Actual spending through the fourth quarter on these 10 projects was $392.5 million. Please note that the memo had an error of $393.3 million, but the attachment is correct at $392.5 million. That concludes the quarterly update. Please let me know if there's questions.
Thank you so much. Are there questions from members on the board? It may be helpful to just discuss maybe a couple of the outliers that are on attachment A. I think there's probably 2 or 3 that are, kind of more below the spend rate, and then 1 more above. So could you speak to those?
I have a couple of them, ma'am.
Thank you.
For the Key Bridge rebuild, it was at 39%. The previous draft flows assumed that the demolition of the existing bridge would largely occur in fiscal year 2025. As a result of the final bridge realignment, this work was reduced in scope and demo began on July 7th of 2025, which was after the fiscal year 25 closed. This pushed about $100 million out of fiscal year 25. Additionally, the start of the test pilot program was moved to September for equipment schedule alignment, and that also pushed another $10 million out of fiscal year 25. For the rehab decks of the eastbound span, it had a 52% spend. The Phase 1, Package 2 phase of the project had a scope change that moved a large portion of the anticipated work from Phase 1 to Phase 2 of the overall project. It's now expected in fiscal year 27. For the I-95 Belvedere Road interchange, it was at a 67% spend. Underspending was primarily due to delays in receiving environmental permits. The baseline CPM schedule had anticipated the receipt of all Stage 2 environmental permits by early March of 2025. However, those permits were not issued until July 31st of 2025.
No, thank you. That's really helpful. And I know, from coming up through the department on capital delivery, there's different factors that can impact project's schedule and therefore spend rate. But I think it's important to talk about those. And I know some of these projects are also very unique in nature as well. So I think the additional detail is helpful. Any other questions or comments from board members? All right, thank you so much for the update. We'll now move on to our next agenda item, number 7, which is an update on quarterly traffic and revenue from Ms. Lewis-Orr.
Morning. For the record, my name is Cheryl Lewis-Orr, MDTA's Director of Revenue. And I had the page up. For the year ended, a couple of key takeaways for this update are for the year ended June 30th, 2025. Overall collected revenue was above forecast by $35.1 million. And our video toll revenue and civil penalty revenue was higher than forecasted by $8.4 and $33.6 million, respectively. If you will look on the chart on page 2, you'll see that we had a decrease year over year in our transactions by 700,000. And that was mainly attributed to the elision of the MV Dally with the Francis Scott Key Bridge. And it's also slightly offset by an increase in transactions on the ICC and the I-95 express toll lanes. Year to date, our revenue increased by $400,000 compared to the same period last year. And this increase in revenue was mostly attributed to improved collection of civil penalty fees and the growth in traffic on the ICC and ETL facilities. Okay. For the year ended June 30th, 2025, our actual revenue was above forecast by $35.1 million. Okay. One second, I had a pop-up on there. The variance between forecasted and actual performance was mainly due to higher than projected video toll and civil penalty fee collections, which was partially offset by the underperformance in our Easy Pass revenue. If I can direct you to attachment A on page 3, you can see a breakdown of that. Our Easy Pass underperformed compared to our forecast by $7.9 million, and that would be partially offset by the FMT fire we had this year. And we were over in our video administrative and pay by plate by $43 million. So that nets to the $35.1 million. Any questions?
Thank you so much for the update. Are there any questions? Member Cordova?
Member Cordova, on the increase in revenue attributed to the improved collection of civil penalty fees, can you explain that a little further? What does that entail?
The increase in civil penalty? Yes, CCU did a tax intercept this year, and we collected a lot more revenue than previous years. It's been not going as smoothly since COVID, and we're finally back on track. And so we won't always collect that much, but that's a lot of back years included in there.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the question and the response. Any other questions or comments from our members? Member Rosen.
Related to the Easy Pass, so our Easy Pass revenue is down, the daily average. It looks like that's going to be an ongoing issue relative to what we forecast.
Yes.
For the traffic. Is there anything we're doing to change that? Is there anything we can do to?
Well,
change
yeah,
that?
we've been moving it around, so we'll fine tune it more on this upcoming forecast update.
But I guess are there actions, are there initiatives or any action we can take to try to encourage more or increase more Easy Pass tolls rather than other tolls that we have to go and collect?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So overall, the forecast and for Easy Pass, particularly Easy Pass, under normal circumstances, seeing Easy Pass revenue would be concerning. We are not overly concerned at all about that. One, the FMT truck fire, unfortunately, right underneath of a gantry, of all places, but that's where the fire was. That had the bulk of this impact. Also, New York, one of the New York agencies transitioned to a back office, and they had challenges with their transition. So we have $2 million worth of transactions that's part of this that weren't processed, and that's a timing issue. So by and large, we're not overly concerned about where we are in the forecast. And, these two unforeseen events, we're still, from a percentage perspective, I think we were 5. I'm sorry, I scrolled the wrong way. Still a very, very good forecast, even with these unexpected events. However, with regard to trying to increase Easy Pass, that is always a focus. Our numbers could be through the roof, and we're still going to try to increase Easy Pass collections. And, there's another number of initiatives to that. Video toll customers, we provide a discount for them if they convert their tolls over into Easy Pass. We are joining the Southeast Hub, which allows us to be interoperable with the central region. That central region of the country with that today video tolls, those customers that have accounts will be electronic. Our communications just continues to promote, like right behind you, good, better, best. We continue to have that messaging, and I'm positive I'm missing a lot of other efforts that we do just to increase our Easy Pass usage.
Highlighting one, this is Executive Director Bruce Gartner. It's a sensitive mic. But the mobile app that we have for customers, just, that is an incredible tool for them. If they're a part of Easy Pass, that's, very easy to monitor. So trying to push people onto that is another benefit to Easy Pass.
Thank you.
Thanks for our question and responses. Any other discussion? All right. That will conclude this item. Thank you both so much. We'll now have our major projects update from Mr. Harkness.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Chief Engineer Jim Harkness, and I'll be presenting the quarterly update for our major projects. We have in this update 8 projects under construction, 4 in design with 1 in procurement. We do have 2 projects on here from the Express Toll Lane Northbound Extension Program. There is 1 project that had a budget update, that is the KB 4903 Francis Scott Key Bridge replacement. Phase 1, we increased that budget by $55 million. And that was to advance Phase 1 design services to 70%, which also included other related costs such as project management office, some geotechnical work that needed to happen. So all of that is inclusive in that 55 and reflected in the budget for that project on the table. So for our first project, we have MA 2257, which is the replacement of the electronic toll collection 3rd generation. That project is supporting, by and large, supporting our capital program, our capital projects that have associated tolling modifications. Also, as was just mentioned, there was a truck fire. That project was also addressing the response to that incident. So some of the example projects that are being supported are our ETL projects. The first KH 3019, which had opened last year, was supported by the CAPS vendor. We also have upcoming KH 3021, and as well as a KH 3046, all associated with the express toll lanes. Additionally, we have a Baltimore Harbor Tunnel project, so the eventual AET project there at Frankfurt Interchange. We have a phase one, which is implementing toll collection at our gantries rather than in the plaza. So CAPS is supporting that work, and we're looking to advance that next month. So that covers that project. Next, we have KH 3024, which is the I-95 at Belvedere Road Interchange project. So construction of the new interchange along I-95 in Cecil County at Belvedere Road. That project is nearing 50% complete at this point, with an expected opening to traffic date of next fall. The contractor has recently completed deck pours of the new bridge over I-95. They are starting with paving operations on Belvedere Road. All of that in anticipation of an upcoming traffic switch to move Belvedere Road traffic onto that new bridge, which would then enable them to begin demolition of the existing bridge, with then continuing the construction of the other portion of the new bridge. Our next project is BB 3017, the eastbound deck rehabilitation. This was a CMAR project, or is a CMAR project. The contractor has completed the installation of all the replacement deck panels, so 156 deck panels are in place, and now they are working on completing link slab pours, so the concrete pours to join those panels all together. They are working on completing them. That work is a little bit temperature sensitive, so we didn't get a lot of production over the summer, but they are looking to certainly ramp up now that we have longer closure windows, as well as more favorable temperatures for that material, with the goal of completing those closure pours by Thanksgiving of this year. The project will continue. The contractor has worked to continue in the curved section approaching the suspension span. They'll be doing truss strengthening there. They also have scope of work to include the traffic barrier replacement within the suspension span. So this contractor will be continuing work out there. Again, all of this work continuing either underneath the roadway or overnight to minimize traffic impacts. Our next project is HT 2709, the Baltimore Harbor Tunnel Ventilation Building and envelope and switchgear replacement. The contractor has been working on the electrical systems, demoing some of the feeders and the BGE switchgear at both of the vent buildings in Canton and Fairfield. They've also completed testing of the new switchgear, so they will be looking to finalize that demolition and the installation of the new switchgear components within both of those buildings, continue with all the wire pulls for energizing those new switchgear. They also have completed on the facade of the buildings. At each building, they have 2 of the 4 sides completed, and are so over halfway done on the facade replacement of that project. On the Canton location, we're expecting to have the third side completed by the end of this year. Moving on to HB 3001, that's the cleaning and painting of the Hatem Bridge. This project is between 80 and 90% complete, with anticipated full completion by spring of next year. The crew is currently working in the navigational span over the river. They are just continuing the process of blasting, finding any structural repairs, making those repairs, then performing the coatings.
Jim, Member Cox, obviously I go over there fairly often and can see the tinning obviously on the west side of the bridge at this point. Is there anything that's been major found as far as above what the contract called for at this point? Have they found anything major?
So with these contracts, I think we talked about it during approval, but there is some allowance items for the structural repairs, because we will find things when we blast and uncover the coatings that have been there for a number of years.
Right.
So we have found additional spots, but nothing that wasn't kind of accounted for in our item there for the miscellaneous and structural repairs. So we're within budget on that. We haven't
Great.
found an excessive amount of anything, certainly nothing concerning. We're making good progress there. I think that's part of the ability. We're actually delivering a little bit early here, and so I think the schedule, we probably overestimated schedule on what we might find. So we're doing pretty well there.
Great, thank you.
And then just to wrap this out, we are replacing the fencing that's along the bridge as well. So that fencing, you'll start to see new fencing going up as well next month. Okay, KB 3005, which is the I-695 subgrade improvements at Bear Creek out in front of the Trade Point Atlantic site. That project, we are finishing up the structural repairs on the back walls of 3 bridges, as well as the approach slabs for those rehabilitations. We did find a couple of items during construction that we needed to add to the contract and address. Some of those are some of the straps associated with the MSE retaining walls. So we are working with the contractor to have the red line issued and address those while we're there. So that work is forthcoming and will be ongoing. The main portion of this work is the pile-supported slab for the portions of subgrade where we had settlement. That work is progressing well. I believe we have poured out all of Mainline, which leads us to still having to do the entrance ramp from Maryland 158 to the outer loop. So we'll be moving to that section next, and then we have retaining walls to pour back, and that will carry the contractor into spring of next year before we can complete that. Okay. Moving to the ETLs, KH 3020, which is the northbound extension to Bynum Run. So this is Mainline 95. The contractor has been working mainly on the right side of the roadway there with storm drain installations. They've been milling the shoulder and getting that ready for a traffic switch. So they've been doing some paving on that right side, a lot of grading and retaining wall work, as well as noise barriers. So they've had all their noise barrier caissons completed, and they've been working on a Harford County water line piece of this project, the relocation of that water line. So that work is wrapped up. Looking forward, they're going to be setting the panels for the noise barriers. The remaining panels, they have the majority of them set already, and we're looking to do the traffic switch to push traffic onto that right shoulder to make room for left side median construction activities, and that will hopefully happen by Thanksgiving of this year. Kind of in the same area right there, we have KH 3020, which is the I-95 Maryland 24 interchange reconstruction. We had what we called a super weekend at the first full weekend of this month, where we closed some ramps for the weekend in order for us to do a significant amount of paving and then shift traffic onto the newly constructed portion of the overpass over 695, and then of course gets traffic realigned onto some permanent ramps as well as some adjusted temporary ramps. So a successful weekend there. We were able to manage traffic pretty well that weekend. Contractor actually finished early and was able to deliver that the opening Sunday evening, as opposed to they had till Monday morning. But things went well despite a little bit of weather, and they were able to deliver that early for us. So we'll have a couple more of those throughout the life of the project, because we are modifying ramps pretty significantly here. So we'll have a few more of those weekends, but the first one under our belt was a success, so we're going to try to build off of that. We're also widening the bridge over Winter's Run, so we've set quite a number of those beams coordinated with the county there, because we require the closure of Winter's Run Road when we're setting those beams, so things have gone smoothly there. The team is advancing that pretty well. Our goal for kind of another phase of traffic will be shifting traffic on Maryland 24. As a result of that initial super weekend, we shifted traffic sort of to the north, so we'll do that all across 24, which will enable us to start demolition of that old bridge structure on 24.
Jim, 24 North, where the widening on both sides, is that pretty much complete now? Do you know, as far north of
From
the 95? Yes.
Yes. So that we call it the auxiliary lane project.
Yes.
Yes, that project has completed. It's delivered.
Everybody, a little question about that, but it's now pretty much complete.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Moving on, KB 4903, which is the Francis Scott Key Bridge replacement. As I said, we have been working on 70% design, so we expect that the contractor will deliver those plans to us by the end of November of this year. We've been working on some pre-construction activities. We've been continuing those. We've also started demolition. So as one of the early work packages that the board authorized earlier this year, we were able to issue notice to proceed for demolition, and they began work in early July on the demolition on the existing bridge. So that contractor is essentially saw cutting the bridge deck, then picking the bridge deck up and then bringing it down off of the structure, and then rubbleizing that material right on site. And so they started on the south side in July. They've already removed all the deck panels on that south side. They had then started removing on the north side, and so in August they started that, and they are about halfway through that operation on the north side. So next activity for that contractor is to start removing some of the steel girders on the portions of the old bridge that are over land. So they are responsible for removing the steel and the piers that are on land. So that you'll see that activity starting on the south side. That'll be the next major activity for the demolition. We also have a test pile program. So that was one of the phase one modifications that we made to the contract. This test piles are now delivered. 6 of the 12 test piles were delivered on Sunday, so they arrived to the project site on Sunday. We expect to start putting those piles in place, the first 2 of those piles, next week. So we'll be standing those up and then driving some of those test piles next week. Let's see, and think that covers the majority. We had the geotechnical activities still going on, so land and marine borings. It was sort of a part two. We had started those in January, February, and gathered some data. That was helpful in, advancing design, and then we needed to just complete that effort. So that effort is underway as well out there. So there's those geotechnical explorations also happening on site right now.
Thanks, Jim. I think these updates are really, really helpful for everyone here in the room and those who may be watching. So continue to keep up the good work. Don't want to speak for everyone here, but I know that it's a lot of visible progress, which is great to see.
Thanks.
Member Ron Paris.
I do have a couple of quick questions. First of all, I want to compliment you on the excellent work you're doing. I know it's a lot of stress, and I just want to recognize you for the hard work, you and the team. You mentioned the end of November for the design. Is that on track? Is that pretty much on track?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the truss pilings, the testing of them, or not I guess the testing of the steel, right? Or the capacity of the.
That's right.
Okay.
The capacity of the piles, yeah.
We don't have to do it here, but I'd like to know more about that. Because some people heard of this and asked the question, and I just want to be able to somehow answer it half intelligently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if others have that same situation. The other thing, just this is something not as significant, but the panels that you were talking about on 95 North, I guess these are sound barriers.
Yes.
How are they, how do you determine where they go? I guess there's a calculation, and if you put them on one side, does the sound from bounce to the other side? Is there any theory on that?
Yes.
They're my questions. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll sit back and listen.
Okay. Yes. So we are on schedule, and we can certainly look to do some education on the test pile program and just give you some more information on that. That's certainly no problem at all.
Why don't you go ahead and give some of the detail, Jim, look for the frame,
Okay.
and then mention the videos that it's our video star for explanations too, so we'll point everyone to those. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, so we've done a number of videos trying to also, get some of that education out there, because it is kind of a unique situation here. So we have these, we're 6 test piles for each of the 2 pylons. So we have a total of 12, so 6 will go in each pylon. And there will be 2, what we're calling the test piles, and then the other 4 are called reaction piles. We have this large frame that will sit on top of the 4 reaction piles. We have 9 hydraulic jacks, which will exert the forces onto that test pile to confirm our design assumptions that we've had up to this point on the design of these piles, and just confirm those capacities for us. We're looking for it to hold up 10 million pounds each. So these jacks will go through a series of tests, just confirming that once these piles are driven, they meet the requirements for the loads from the bridge. So after that, then the second test pile will be used for the lateral capacity to just confirm that it can withstand the loads that we need in the horizontal direction. So the first test will be in the vertical and then in the horizontal.
Member Cox?
Maybe a follow-up. Will that be, the test piles will be across where the bridge will potentially go? Is that, the test piles themselves?
Correct. So
Okay.
These are in the actual footing locations for the new bridge. And there is the potential for us to incorporate the 4 reaction pile into the footers of the new bridge. Of course, we have to make sure we get that permitted, so with the agencies, and of course, we'll pass the test that we need, and it'll deliver the capacity we need, so. Oh, and then in terms of, sort of the sound that we're expecting for this process, we're kind of likening it to the sound of a bell, a church bell off in the distance for the most, the closest residents in the neighborhood, on the northern side there. So it will carry, the sound will carry over water, but we don't expect it to be a huge issue for noise. We do have noise monitors and vibration monitors, so we have hydrophones, so we're monitoring the noise underwater, above water as well. So we will be, being able to check those in real time, and the durations. We have a 12-hour window that we would be looking to do this work in, but certainly the duration we expect to be around 2 hours per pile.
And just one last question on that. Does it ricochet? Does it sound?
Oh, yes.
Out?
So so for noise on the highway projects, there is a whole process we follow for conducting a noise study, and then utilizing that noise study to determine the locations as well as the dimensions of any noise barriers. It does take into account reflective noise, so that is accounted for.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we will continue on with our next project, KH 3046, the northbound express tolling ramps at I-695. So this project would construct 2 ramps at the interchange of I-95 and 695, essentially providing access to the northbound express toll lanes from both the inner and outer loop. We also are doing some stream restoration within the interchange. That was an agency commitment from Section 100, so we're carrying that out. We are also improving and we're doing a high mast lighting upgrade at the interchange. So right now we are working with the Department of the Environment to address final comments. We are looking to advertise this project on October 10th. So 2 weeks from now, with an anticipated notice to proceed to the contractor in spring of next year, and that would it's about a 2-year construction, so that would put opening of those ramps into 2028. Next project is in design. This is KH 3025, which is the new maintenance facility, phase 1. So we have a phased approach to that maintenance facility off of Raphael Road. It supports the express toll lane operations. We, in this phase 1, would have covered vehicle storage. We would have new salt storage barns. We would also have a fuel island at this location. So we have recently been working on the domestic water well installation and getting the flow test there to support the facility, all phases of that facility. We had to incorporate a retaining wall and a entrance realignment there for site distance on Raphael Road. Working with Baltimore County for the septic field permitting. All of that is coming together well. We expect to have our final plans mid-October, with an anticipated add date of February, by the end of February of next year, with hopefully awarding NTP in September of next year. Okay. Our final 2 projects are both at the Bay Bridge. So BB 3025, which is the cleaning and painting of structural steel there. Of course, we phase our projects there, so this would be phase 1 of the eastbound painting. We have just completed that redecking, so there was a lot of structural steel strengthening there. So we targeted that for the first place to go ahead and perform our painting, our cleaning and painting there. So that's essentially the area. We also have included in the scope the large towers for the suspension span. So we'll be painting those as well. We have completed the 100% plans, and we are looking to advertise this project in November of this year. So hopeful to advertise in November with an anticipated notice to proceed in spring of next year. And finally, we have BB 3023, which is our Bay Bridge protection project. This is a project that would deliver enhanced physical protection measures at the Bay Bridge. It is an alternative delivery, so we're looking at a design build here. So at this point, we are working on developing 30% plans to support that request for proposal. We should have those completed by mid-October of this year. We are also working on industry outreach, so we're scheduling an industry forum for this project, which would occur next month as well. And the idea is that we would be able to hopefully advertise this request for proposals before the end of the year. So in December of this year, have that request for proposals out on the street, and then go through the evaluation process and award process late spring, early summer of next year. And that's all my projects.
Thank you so much, Jim. Any questions or comments from members of the board on any of the projects?
Madam Chair, I have one more question.
Of course.
On the Raphael Road, I guess the new facility on Raphael Road, sorry about my voice. It's getting better. But anyway, as you know, between the two gunpowders, there are no hydrants. So no fire hydrants. So what kind of fire suppression design or equipment do we have for that site? Do you know? If not, we can circle back.
Yeah, I would have to get back to you on that one. I know we were working with the county on our requirements there and making sure that we could get the flow. So we did do that well installation, and we passed the flow test. I would just have to confirm exactly what our fighting abilities at the facility are.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions from members of the board? Member Cordova.
I have a question, and sorry to make you go back a little bit, Jim, but on project 3017, you mentioned it's a CMAR. That's like the second piece of the deck replacement, I believe, right? That you talked about.
So 3017
Yes.
was the first package.
Oh, okay.
We could not come to terms on a second package. So we did issue a red line to the contractor to perform truss strengthening in that section where the second package would take place. So we will be advertising that deck replacement separately.
Okay. But you did say that one of them was CMAR and it's under construction now, right?
That's correct. So
Yes.
3017 is the CMAR.
Right.
So the deck panels are all complete. They are doing the link slab pours, and then they will continue with truss strengthening, as well as the traffic barrier in the suspension span. So
Okay.
they do have another year and a half of work to do.
Yeah. And realizing that construction is ongoing and the project is not anywhere near completed, but is there any benefits that you've seen from the contract methodology that you can share?
Yeah, so when we went into this with a CMAR because we wanted to make sure with this two-lane bridge, and we couldn't employ the exact same approach that we had on the eastbound bridge or westbound bridge a few years back. So we we wanted to solicit the input from a contractor to make sure that we weren't doing anything in our design that was going to make it hard to construct or very expensive to construct. So we did value the input that we had from our contractor through that design process, and so we do have 100% plans on that other portion. So it's just a matter of scheduling and getting that advertised.
Great. Congratulations.
Member Rosen?
Thanks, Jim. Just given more generally, given the nature of the contracting environment, labor availability, construction costs, are we seeing anything that would inform potential, contract commencement dates, closure dates? And that, I guess that would be both these projects as well as just generally in other projects. Are we seeing anything in the environment that would impact our schedule?
So we, routinely revisit our cost estimates throughout our milestone and project development. So we are constantly trying to evaluate those things, and we'll make those changes at a project level at the milestone development throughout the project. So I would say we do it on a project by project basis, and so when we see those things, we are certainly making modifications and accounting for that within our budget. We've been seeing our estimates come in still, right near bid, or we're actually getting under bids still a lot, or underestimate a lot with our bids. So we've been doing pretty well at estimating and budgeting for those costs, and so far we've been able to kind of time that and reflect those well in our estimates. So yeah, hasn't majorly surprised us yet. Okay.
Thank you, Member Rosen. Any other questions? Hold for a moment for those on the line. I know we covered a lot of good projects here. Thank you as always, Jim. Encyclopedia of knowledge, and we will look forward to your next video series as well. Great job.
He's doing autographs.
Thank you.
All right, that moves us into agenda item number 9, which is an update on IT major projects from Mr. Goldsboro. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Madam Chairman, members of the board. Great to see everyone. For the record, David Goldsboro, MDTA Director. Purpose of this update is to keep the board abreast of all the major projects in process with information technology. The first project I want to do an update on is the HR Central conversion to the Salesforce Lightning platform. We're coming down the home stretch on this. Should be completed in the October timeframe. We've done all of the development work on our class and comp modules, going into user acceptance testing with our HR groups. We've got some other enhancements, but we are doing some finalized testing. We also are still doing some manual data validation. I've mentioned in previous updates, the new HRIS system does have a feed to that HR Central of MDTA, and we're just seeing some things that need to be cleaned up within that interface, so we're leaving that open for now. But we still are targeting end of October to complete this actual move to the Lightning platform. Next project is our Maximo Spatial / Maximo Enhancements project. We're meeting to go through our requirements. This is the onboarding of all of our assets for our preventive maintenance program, our asset management program. It's a large effort there, and so we are in process of creating our preventive maintenance job plans, and also we're going to be bringing on board or bringing back our GIS resource to complete some of the interface work. The Maximo Spatial system interfaces with our GIS system, which is used by engineering to onboard assets for planning, gets brought into Maximo, and then that's where the warranty work and the preventive maintenance is all tracked. So they're used in conjunction with one another. Next project is our Dynamics Financial Management System upgrade. Coming down the home stretch on that as well. Payroll interface development is continuing. We've got a few other interfaces and some reports that we're working on. It's going into the last piece, which is a testing phase for QA, and also walkthroughs with our finance division to finish that out. So hopefully we'll have a better update in December for that one. I kept the HRIS on here just as a placeholder because we still are performing some data validation issues. We hope to get that cleared through in the coming months. And the next project, the data center enhancements, happy to say that we had our 2 outages in August, and that project has come to completion. I did include some photos for the board. I thought it would be nice since I've spoken about it in several updates, and just if you wanted to just run, I can run through those very, very quickly. But if you see the new cooling units at the ICC, nice and shiny, haven't been exposed to the elements yet, as well as the JFK cooling units. Remember Gangemi, that's the most famous concrete I think we've ever spoken about. Probably the last update I'll ever give that talks about concrete. I'll leave that to Jim. The next photo is the JFK. That's where the main work was done. The door to the right on that photo is the entrance, and on the left you'll see a black door that was the hot aisle containment. We removed that for space considerations. If you drop down to the next photo, you'll see that that's where that was removed. It allowed us to expand in the opposite direction against the far wall. And also, we moved the UPS out of that room, which allowed us more space for a 3rd rack on the right side and possibly even a 4th rack. So our toll vendors will be able to use that, as well as if we talk about some consolidation of the MDOT data centers, this would be a great opportunity to leverage the JFK and ICC data center. The next photo, the UPS room build out, that door that says exit, that's the entrance to the side of the building where the data center is. The data center would be to the left, and that's where we expanded in to move the UPS and fire suppression. So that was constructed over. We took up a fair amount of that space. If you drop down to the next photo, you could see that doors to the right, and then you could see the wall to the left, and we came out towards the far wall where the locker rooms were. That's our UPS unit loaded up with batteries, and there was a fair amount of space that was needed just for clearance around that unit. The last photo is just the same room but looking in the opposite direction.
We've lost our members on the phone somehow. We do not, so Member Cox may have to step in for that.
Please feel free to proceed. Thanks so much.
Yeah, last photo, same room, just opposite direction. The UPS to the right, the fire suppression is against the far wall, and that pretty much completed that build out. So I was very happy with how that turned out. I'm always reluctant to name names because I always feel like I'm going to forget someone, but I do want to say that this started with a conversation 2 years ago that Jim and I had about this project. And I do want to thank Jim and his team. John Lohmeyer, who is now retired. John came up with the idea of expanding the space towards the locker room. John Monk, Bob Michael, who did the design work, and also, of course, our internal team, Chuck Markakis, Carmen Picarelli, and Steve Viezdowski, who spearheaded the work for IT, overseeing that. And the next project is our police body-worn cameras. As I mentioned in the last update, we completed the rollout of all the physical equipment to comply with that legislative mandate of July 1. The work that we're doing now is moving the data from the Coban system, which was the previous / incumbent, out to the Axon cloud. Axon is the system that we have adopted for body-worn and in-car system, which is also the same system that the state police uses and a lot of other police detachments across the state. We're uploading all of the data from Coban to the evidence.com cloud, which is what the state's district attorney's office uses as well. So that's why big reason why we moved there in addition to the body-worn camera. The Maximo 9 project, our work order was advertised for that. We're targeting BPW in November. Look to kick that off before the end of the year. That'll be a big effort to move off that. It's a major shift for the Maximo product to a different platform. And then finally, the procurement milestone reporting system. That is a product that we've built to track all of our different procurement pathways and the different timing that's involved with each step. We've moved small procurement, our preferred provider, and our task order RFP methods, remove the production. We're doing some QA work on other modes of or methods of procurement, and that also is coming down the home stretch. We talked about doing a demo of that, remember, Gangemi and Capital Committee. I think I talked to the team if we wanted to target an upcoming meeting, maybe 25 to 30 minutes. I think you'd be very impressed with what they've done with that product. It's actually very impressive. Not because it's our IT group, but it's and just a couple of operational updates, Madam Chairman. We're winding down our OLA audit, just giving artifacts where needed. Our annual financial audit, same status there. We're providing artifacts to that vendor. Our cyber audit has completed. Member Cox may give an update on that. I will give a more in-depth update on some of the findings there in our cyber update, which is next month in October, just for the sake of the sensitivity of that. And to finally just have some new projects that I will be introducing to the board in the next update in December, just some things that are coming down the pipe. And with that, Madam Chairman, I'd be happy to take questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goldsboro. Any other questions or comments on the IT front?
Mr. Member Von Paris, I was going to ask you a couple questions, but I really can't because I don't think it would be safe to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure how sound
From the
travels off the barrier, so I can't answer that for you.
That was the question. No, I mean I know we have. I won't go deep. I don't want you to go deep in this, but
Sure.
I'm sure we have an AI policy.
Yes.
Because sometimes data can get come back and be threaten us with like a threat actor or something like that.
Sure.
So, but I don't want any details. But and then I guess the other thing is. I know some organizations have an emergency plan specifically for threat actor incident.
Yes.
So, okay.
Correct, yes. Yes, that does exist.
I won't go into detail.
Understood.
And I don't expect you to.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's very, yeah, we can, in our cyber update, we can get into some of that. Yes, understood.
Yep, very timely topic, and we look forward to hearing more about that for
Absolutely.
sure next month. Any other questions? All right, terrific. Well, thank you so much for the updates, David. We'll get you next month on cyber. Our next agenda item is number 10, our Civil Rights Fair Practice Socioeconomic Program Update from Ms. Ward. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair and Board. My name is Kadria Ward. I'm the Director of the Division of Civil Rights and Fair Practices, and I'm here to provide you an update on MDTA's state and federally mandated socioeconomic programs for fiscal year 25 fourth quarter. And I'll be providing an overview of the data provided in CRFP's quarterly report. In Table 1, in monitoring MDTA's federally funded contracts, participation on each major contract was consistently strong in relation to the burn rate of each contract. Through the reflected reporting period, most contracts remained on track with reasonable attainments when comparing the payments of the prime to those of the DBE subs. Going into Table 2, it depicts the total MBE participation by contracting area for quarter 4 fiscal year 25. MBE firms received $116.8 million, which is 21.17% of the $551.9 million in total contract awards during this period. These amounts represent contract awards in 4 procurement categories, which were construction, architectural and engineering, maintenance, and services. This is out of the 6 overall procurement categories. Table 3 depicts the MBE awards by minority business enterprise classification and procurement category for quarter 4 fiscal year 25. Through this period, African American firms received $15.4 million, which is 2.81% of the $551.9 million in prime contract awards. Asian American firms received $3.1 million, which is 0.57%. Women-owned firms received approximately $89 million, which is 16.14%. Hispanic American firms received $1.2 million, which is 0.23%. The MBE participation for quarter 4 is calculated by dividing the total MBE contract award dollars by the total contract awarded dollars. Table 5 illustrates the utilization of the Certified Small Business/Small Business Reserve Program for quarter 4. SBR designated firms received $1.6 million of the $555 million in procurement awards for this period. Non-SBR designated awards for this quarter were over $13.8 million. MDTA CSB/SBR awards total over $15.5 million, which is 2.8% for all SBR awards, both designated and non-designated. The CSB/SBR firms' participation is calculated by dividing the total CSB/SBR designated and non-designated awards by the total procurement awards. Utilization is calculated by dividing the total CSB/SBR designated and non-designated payments by the total payments to all prime vendors. Table 5 illustrates the VSBE contract participation by contracting area for quarter 4. Through this period, VSBE firms received $4.5 million, which is 0.82% of the overall $551.9 million in contracts awarded by MDTA. VSBE participation for quarter 4 is calculated by dividing the total contract award dollars to VSBE firms by all contract awards. And that concludes the report out.
Thank you so much for the report and update. Are there any questions or comments from members of the board? All right, well, thank you so much for all of your work. Appreciate it. All right, our next update, item number 11, is an audit committee update. Pinch hitting for Member Penny Ardinger will be Member Cox this morning. Thank you, sir.
Madam Chair. For Cynthia Penny Ardinger, member and chair, it looks like she's been cut off, so I will substitute. The audit committee met on September 9th, and the Office of Audit is on track to complete the 12 audits in the fiscal year 2026 audit plan. One audit is complete. 3 internal audits reported were presented: cybersecurity and data privacy follow-up, contract management control, promotional activities. The committee discussed the auditor's findings and were satisfied with the results of the audits. The committee requested regular updates on the status of the actions being taken to address the findings from cybersecurity and data privacy follow-up audit. The committee was satisfied and does report, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Member Cox. Are there any questions or comments on the audit report?
You did it well.
I think so, too.
Those other two members, I mean, I knew I'd get the needle, especially from the former chair and the newest member.
Did us proud. Thank you so much. Before moving on to the Executive Director's report, I just want to thank everyone for a great meeting so far this morning. I know there's always a lot of work that goes in by staff and members of the board in subcommittee meetings and preparing for each of these meetings. This is also a really busy time for the department. We are out on the Consolidated Transportation Program tour. I bet I may be stealing a little bit of the Executive Director's thunder because you may sometimes acknowledge that we are at that time of year. We did present the program in Queen Anne's County earlier this week, and we'll be completing visits to many other counties for the next several weeks. But I just want to acknowledge the work of staff and the time that staff puts into preparing for and attending those meetings as well. It's very much appreciated and a big part of this season for the department. So just wanted to formally and on the record thank everyone for that support. But with that, I will turn it over to the Executive Director for his update.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Again, Bruce Gardner, Executive Director of the Maryland Transportation Authority. Just want to cover a few things today. With the end of summer, to look at Bay Bridge traffic volumes, talk about some of our community events such as the Hayden Run, our industry outreach, kind of a little bit on the Key Bridge, although Jim covered most of that, so I think you got the update there. Some of the things that we've been in the news for recently, and some upcoming events, as well as some staff changes. So starting out with, as the beginning of autumn just started, just wanted to run through some data that we're going to be presenting to the Bragg group that meets about the Bay Bridge, and they have a meeting next week on October 1st. But for the summer travel season, June through August, the year-over-year traffic volumes at the Bay Bridge were essentially flat at 88,000 vehicles per day. This volume is tied with last year for the highest since the pandemic, so it did not increase overall since last year. However, for weekends, Thursday through Sunday, we saw increase and reduce volumes depending on the days involved, with 3% more vehicles using the bridge on Thursdays compared to last year. There was a minor increase of less than 0.5% in Friday volumes as well. On the other side, we saw reduced volumes on Saturday and Sunday this year compared to last year, 1.1% for Saturday, 1.6% for Sunday. The reduced volumes both days, a result of less demand on the eastbound on those days. So we'll be doing a deeper dive with some graphics on the for the group next week. That traffic data is very important, always of interest to the communities on either side of the bridge that experience the congestion in that corridor. And I would like to thank Jim Harkness and his team for all the work that they do to analyze that. This past weekend, turning to up along the Susquehanna River, we supported the Susquehanna River Running Festival. So thanks to operations and police, that event includes a 5K, 10K, and a half marathon. It's been a good opportunity for us to support the community up there, and I'd like to thank some of the team members in particular, Roxanne Mukai and Jim Grove, who worked on that project and event. And then we were fortunate that no incidents happened at that. But, one of those challenges of those events with everything that's going on in the world these days is making sure we have the police coverage necessary for that to secure that facility. Way too many incidents in our, not too distant past with large crowds. So we want to run that in the safest manner possible and appreciate police and the local agencies that support us on that. Yesterday, turning to kind of industry outreach, we had the opportunity, Kadria and her team in Civil Rights and Fair Practices, of doing business with MDTA event. We were able to use the MDOT headquarters building again for that. Percy and I participated in that. It's an opportunity to educate vendors and contractors with how we do business. Procurement goes over our schedule of upcoming procurements, have a wide variety of both primes and MBEs in attendance in that. It's a good networking opportunity for all those groups. Also would like to just recognize a new employee that we have in Civil Rights and Fair Practices, a new Deputy Director position, and Ms. Sharita Thomas has been appointed to this position. She will be serving she has served as a public administrator for multiple years and joined the group in August of this year. She brings more than 25 years of management experience across the public and private sector, so welcome to Sharita. Turning to our the Division of Communications and some of the Key Bridge communications that we've been doing, we did set up that a member of public can now have text alerts to receive timely updates on their phones. So there's a subscription process that they can go through. So yet another effort by our communications team to make sure that the local community is updated on events as they happen related to the Key Bridge. Speaking as events as they happen, just wanted to point out a couple things in the news this past week and comment on what you have read and seen in the media regarding the U.S. DOT Secretary's letter to Governor Moore regarding the bridge. I hope that you all had a chance to read the governor's message on that. What the governor said in his statement is absolutely true. We are working with the administration to find ways to build the bridge as efficient and effective as possible while prioritizing safety. And there's a lot that goes into that project, both as it's constructed and the reasons it's being designed the way it is for safety purposes, both for vehicles and ships underneath. We anticipate the price estimation process to be finalized in the coming months, and we will provide regular updates about the project status. In the meantime, the state continues to pursue the litigation to make that financial contributions by way of advanced construction cost, and we also have contributed the insurance settlement dollars to keep the project forward. So that's, all those premiums that we've paid in, that have that insurance in place, has kept us moving forward to date on that. Regarding DBE requirements, I think it is worth mentioning that the MDTA is complying with federal DBE requirements. Just want to be crystal clear about that. And we continue to partner with the agencies, the federal agencies involved. They're alongside us as part of that project, and we continue to work with them on all aspects of what is a very unique emergency relief project. It does have a lot of federal requirements related to it that we comply with as we proceed forward. So from that fairly major piece of news to some of the reaction that we had to do on Monday related to social media on the pictures of the Bay Bridge piers. So on Monday, we did reassure the public that both spans of the bridge are safe. That was communicated also on Tuesday. The Secretary mentioned we've been at around the state, so we were in Queen Anne's County on Tuesday. Fortunate timing, I think, for us to be able to communicate that we do conduct rigorous routine inspections on all our facilities, and especially the Bay Bridge. They were looking at those things. Our team inspected that pier that was identified on Monday just to confirm what we thought we knew, that there was no indication of movement. The image of the pier cap appears off-centered, but those bridge girders and the key structural components supporting the span are aligned at the center of the cap. This is a condition that has always been in existence, so it does look a little bit odd. We do recall this coming up about 6 years ago, but this type of thing happens from time to time when somebody sees something that they looks unusual, and we tried to get that message out as once we were able to do those inspections. So again, we reassured the local elected officials and appreciated one of the delegates that forwarded that to us that we saw on Sunday and started that investigation. So with respect to the CTP tours, I'd just like to thank personally Melissa Williams, our planning director, from representing the MDTA at the more distant meetings that I haven't had to go to attend, but we have had some good meetings in Baltimore City and Queen Anne's to date, with more to come. So the only look ahead I give in terms of meetings, I've already mentioned the Bay Bridge Reconstruction Advisory Group, not to use acronyms like I did previously, but that does take place at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, October 1st. Finally, I need to acknowledge, and I hope you all are prepared for this kind of sad event as well, but our Chief Counsel, Kim Millender, will be her last board meeting with us. The Secretary called me out to her earlier this week, I believe, when she identified one of the reasons that I felt really good about coming back to lead the authority, and the fact that we had somebody like Kim in that position. She's just the consummate professional, and is probably the model for how you would want your lead counsel to work collaboratively with you as an agency. So I just like to say my personal kind of farewell in the public setting to Kim, and thank her for all that she has done to support me, and I'm sure I speak for the rest of the senior staff in the room. If I talk any longer, I'll probably get a little tearful, so I will close on that note. But thank you so much, Kim.
Couldn't have kept talking a little longer, Bruce. Now I'm getting a little tearful. No, that's all right. No, I will save my remarks for Kim for another setting, but do want to publicly acknowledge your years of service to both this department and the state have been just exemplary, and we're honored to have worked with you.
Just, I mean, in these 9+ years, it's been my pleasure, and I'm sure speak for the board and others can speak, that the questions that we had questions for Kim were timely and very, very on target. Thanks, Kim.
Agreed. Well, at this point, no other comments from members of the board, our agenda is complete. Is there a motion to adjourn today's
So moved.
meeting?
Member Ganjemi.
Second, Member Rosen?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. This now concludes this meeting of the MDTA Board at 10:28 a.m. Thank you.